on both sides of the healthcare debate are hitting the road to drive home their points. Let's talk to them. First, big government opponents begin a 33-city bus tour of the country today, and Mark Williams is an organizer of the Tea Party Express, and he joins me live now from Sacramento. And Mark, good to talk to you. I appreciate the opportunity, Mark. Hey, look, I want to understand the work that you're doing here a little bit better. We went to the website teapartyexpress.org, correct?
Correct.
And I would encourage others to do that as well. Sort of your purpose statement there reads, join the Tea Party Express as we cross the nation rallying Americans to oppose the out-of-control spending, higher taxes, bailouts, and growth in the size and power of government. Are we talking about out-of-control spending generally, or is this in part a rebuke of democratic spending? I'm just trying to figure out if you're a partisan organization or nonpartisan in your efforts here.
Well, we are nonpartisan, and if you ask any random 100 people who will be here and along the route, with 34 cities now, and you mentioned George W. Bush, you'll probably have to stand back at what's going to happen next, because it's generally seen that in the last couple of years of his second term anyway, we began this pell-mell, reckless mess that we're in now, which has only been accelerating since the beginning of the year. And you're right, it is spending in general, it's government intrusion in general, it's out-of-whack priorities in general, but what kind of brought everything together was the Obamacare idea, because that contains pretty much every odoriferous objection.
Now, why do you call it, Mark?
Why
do you call it Obamacare? Why do you do that?
They change the names. I know it's Kennedy Care today, right? I forget. Is it Obamacare, health care reform, health insurance reform, Kennedy Care, whatever it is? It's
now Democrats aren't calling it. Do you know Democrats aren't calling it Obamacare? Who's calling it Obamacare?
I think it's Kennedy Care now officially. Again, I can't keep track with the name changes because they change it every time a focus group comes back. But that is just the issue that's brought everybody kind of together. And we find in different localities as we work our way across the country that there are different priorities. For example, here in Sacramento, the main focus of this send-off rally, after we leave here at 2 o'clock our time, the rally will be taken over by Central Valley farmers and other concerns who need water, which is now being denied to them for the sake of a minnow, which, you know, you want food, do you want a minnow? And the legislature here will be taking that matter up in the matter of a couple of weeks, and they're here to be heard. As we work our way across the country, it'll be different things. Michigan will be jobs and the disastrous condition that state's in.
All right, so, but generally speaking, it's about big government, right? The intrusions of big government and power and spending. And the argument
I think that would be fair, yeah.
Okay, so the argument then is, you've indicated that this has been growing in its momentum.
Oh, yes, it has.
Where was the bus tour when, say, the Bush administration helped the auto industry? Where was the bus tour when the Bush administration pushed a stimulus package through Congress?
It hadn't reached critical mass. It hadn't reached critical mass. What you're going to be seeing is working stiff Americans who have jobs, who have lives, who aren't one of the, you know, like a far left-wing rent-a-mob. These are people who really need to be motivated into action. And this all happened organically because of one guy on TV who went into a rant, and then it grew up to the April 15th rallies around the country. And what we're doing with the Tea Party Express is we're taking all those words and we're trying to turn them and channel them into positive action. There are literally hundreds of Tea Party groups out there, and if you poll, again, any 100 of us, you'll find 100 different priorities. But we all come together under one umbrella, and that's protecting the Constitution and the rights and the freedoms that allow us to hold those differing views and to espouse those differing views, because that's what's being threatened right now.
All right, you know what the criticism here is? The criticism is that you're rallying in a way now, and in a way that you didn't during the Bush administration, because you have glommed onto issues, and the core group of people who follow this movement are people who don't support the president, will never support the president, and are working in all kinds of ways to defeat the president. How do you answer the criticism?
Then I had 15,000 disgruntled anti-Obama people here on tax day. Sure didn't look like that to me from the stage. No, this is not anybody upset over one particular politician or even one particular party. And in fact, if you ask the Republicans in the crowd here, you'll find they're just as upset at their party as they are at the Democrats. This is Americans standing up to take back their country. This is very much, the feeling I get is very much like when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, where a nation went this way,
right,
government went that way. And we're in another one of those right now where the greatest threat to our nation, in the minds of many people with whom I speak, and certainly in my mind, the greatest threat to this nation right now could very well be its own government. And we need to take back control of this country. Jerry Garcia once said of the Grateful Dead, he once said, it's clear somebody's got to do something. It's just incredibly pathetic. It has to be us. I maintain he got that exactly backwards. We, the people, have been sitting back and allowing our elected representatives to do the jobs we hired them to do, which is attend to the day-to-day business of this country, but they screwed up.
Just because,
and they forgot
but Mark,
that
just
they work for us and
not
that we don't work for them.
Yeah, just because the debate doesn't go the way you want it doesn't mean you're not being listened to.
This is debate. You're going to see debate across the country in 34 cities. This is democracy. This is Faneuil Hall. This is what we celebrate in this country, and that's what the Tea Party Express is. It's a celebration of America. It's a celebration of freedom. It's a celebration of free speech, and it's a celebration of democracy. This is the way it works.
And this is not rooting for the failure of this American president.
It's rooting for the failure of those policies being enacted and advocated in this country now that are directly contrary to the ideals and the principles of this country.
Mark, we appreciate the time. Good to talk to you. Let's do this a few more times during the tour. Mark Williams.
Let's, please.
All right.